Right. You gotta start this again, bro. My phone died in the middle of recording, but anyways. Shouldn't be too hard to recap what I did, but I have to. Alright, so take two. Me giving you guys my top 12 teams, just kind of power rankings in my opinion. Very opinion based. Going into the weekend of college football. I'm going to show you all some of the stat lines and some of the reasons that I put a team in the places I think it should be. So yeah. Listen, I did. Experience does help. Need some space, and since you can see the whole board, I need to really use it. 4. Yeah, there we go. 5, 6, 7, 8. That's an awful 8, man. 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Okay, so I remember everything I did, so just pull up ESPN real quick, just get some stats, because I don't remember all this crap. But anyways, I'm going to go from worst to first. Actually, I'll go ahead and give y'all a top 3, because it's really just kind of obvious. Where's the red thing? I don't think none of these markers work, but anyways, I mean, it's Ohio State, it's Indiana, and also the whiteboard. I know it's calendar, but we'll try to make do with it. I need to see if we have a better marker that's red. Oh yeah, we do. Nice. Chunky boy. We got Chunky boy on here, boys. Holy crap. That's thick, but we'll deal with it. Okay, so yeah. Back to the fact of the matter. I'm gonna rewrite some of this stuff. So yeah, Ohio State is at 1. That may not work. That may not work. I'll just keep this. Ohio State is at 1. Indiana is at 2. Just kind of rebase some things. Could go green. Or this. That does not show up well. That's awful. We'll stick with what we got until I find something better. Like, I think that's a Sharpie. I can't use that. Yeah. I think one of these may be good. It's not bad. I need to start using this rag though. Wipe this stuff off. Anyways, okay. OSU at 1, IU at 3, and of course I'm trying to incorporate some colors, so I got Miami at 2. Okay. This is not really debatable at this point. You could debate Indiana because Oregon's best win is against Penn State. You know the situation there. James Franklin just finally got fired. So you could debate this, but these two got to be set in stone for you. They got to be set in stone at this point. Yeah, I mean, I guess I'll go over the stats for these 3 teams. It's probably worth it. I'm paranoid now. I gotta make sure I'm still recording. All right. So for Ohio State, this stat line didn't really shock me, but I thought Sam would have some good yards. He was 19 for 27, a 2.0 touchdown interception ratio. He had 166 passing yards. I don't think Sam is going to be in the main contention for the Heisman race this year. He's definitely the caliber. He's got the caliber for it, but he's not there. Here's the big difference in this game. Okay, let's just do this right here. I'll erase this. This wasn't important. It was important, but not as important as this. Ohio State, they had 0 turnovers. Illinois had 3. That's the big thing right there. That's kind of all I got for. Illinois had more total yards than Ohio State. They had 295. Ohio State only had 275. Of course, it's only 20, not a huge difference, but it's this right here. It's that right there. The 3 turnovers. That is a big deal. Yeah, so that's kind of all I got for Ohio State. They're the number 1 team in the nation. Rightfully so. Okay. I'm actually, before I get to everything else, I'm going to talk about some honorable mentions. I thought about keeping Oklahoma on here, but that was just awful. 6 points against Texas. I know they have a good defense, but that's just, come on. That's crazy. Mateer had 3 picks. You can't trust that. Thought about putting Virginia on here. USC had a good win. Utah. Who else? Vandy, Missouri. We'll get to the actual list though. Indiana. So let's see. Let me go back to Indiana real quick. Mendoza. I really like Mendoza. Also, Miami was on a bye week. If you want reasoning for Miami, they beat Notre Dame, Florida State. They've got the wins. So I just got him at 2. That's on a bye week this week. So Mendoza, I like him in the Heisman race right now. He had 215. He had 215 passing yards, a 1-to-1 touchdown to interception ratio. Their yardage was about 30 or 40 yards better on every stat there is for yardage against Oregon. Passing, rushing, and combined, they out-yarded Oregon 326 to 267. That's not a huge difference, but it does make a difference. The big difference in this game, in my opinion, was definitely this right here. And it's the fact that Dante Moore, in a top 7 matchup, as the number 3 team in the nation at home, Dante Moore threw 1 touchdown, and of course this is for Oregon. Threw 1 touchdown and 2 interceptions. And one of those was in the 4th quarter. That is not good. You can't be doing that in as big of a game as it is like that, especially when you're the number 3 team in the nation. I don't think. Well, it's hard to say for Carson Beck because of the Georgia days, but how he's playing at Miami, I don't think Carson Beck would do that. Definitely not Julian Saint. He wouldn't be doing that. But that was a breaking thing for Dante Moore. And you know what? I'll just go ahead and put them up there since we're done with those stats. I'll leave Indiana with this. 6-0. Mendoza looks great. I'll leave him with that. Also, Elijah Sarah or whatever. He's insane too. Okay. So with that out of the way, I'll go ahead and go towards the bottom, and guess who it is? It is Oregon. I don't really think I have to talk about this game no more, but I'll leave you with this for Oregon. Best win was against Penn State. That's awful. If you were ranked number 3, your best win was against Penn State, and you get humbled at home by a team lower than you. Of course, I mean, Indiana's a good team, but still, that's not very good. Really, one word that describes Oregon right now, Oregon? I don't know what I just said. Oregon is unproven. Big word that describes a lot in Eugene, Oregon. I think it's Eugene. I don't remember, but whatever. Unproven. They have no big wins against now ranked teams. Unproven. That's the big thing for Oregon. All right, so now going to number 11. Purple. Maybe you can guess what it is. I've got LSU. They played what? They played South Carolina this week. We'll kind of break that down whenever I get to it. We'll get there eventually. Alright, LSU. Marquise Dillwide, LSU. So this is, let's see, I think they're still 11. No, they're 10. Okay. Well, this is one spot where me and the AP poll are really matched up because they're right here, obviously. But that's given. LSU being around the 10 mark. They're not really a solid top 10 team, but they're in that area. Okay, so 2010 against South Carolina. Here is the problem. I don't really like Nussy. 254 yards, pretty good. 2-2 ratio. I don't know. I don't like his style of play. They did hold Sellers to 124 yards, and he had a pick. A 0-1 ratio. He did not throw for a touchdown. I'm gonna go to team stats. Time of possession. LSU was down. Time of possession. They were down. But, I mean, that don't really matter if you win the game, I think. Yeah, this is probably a big deal, too. 3 turnovers for LSU. 2 for South Carolina. I think turnovers are a big deal. That should be given, too. But 3 turnovers, not good. If they were to do that against Alabama or Tennessee, then that would not be well. Yeah. So I guess since I'm doing this kind of thing, fine. I didn't do anything for Miami, but one thing I'll leave with you for Miami is solid. At least solid. At least. One thing I'll leave with you with LSU is questionable QB. I do not like Garrett Nussmeier, do I? No, I do not. Honestly, you could just put questionable a lot of things. But I think LSU is definitely a playoff team, though. Alright. I'm going to dig some real quick. This is just kind of for me. It's not for me, Yep, okay, that's what I thought. Okay, so at number 10. Yeah, hey, these two are switched in the AP poll, but no, sir, not in this place. I have the Tennessee Volunteers. I don't have orange, but I have the Tennessee Volunteers. So, we got Tennessee, and oh man, this is a home versus Arkansas. That was a nail biter. I hate Tennessee, but that was a nail biter for sure. 5-1, Arkansas 2-4, which the record don't say a bunch. It don't reflect very well. Okay, Joey Aguilar. Okay. 221 yards. And 1-0. Okay, yeah. Has he thrown an interception all year? I'm not too sure. I'll look. Oh yeah, he's thrown 5. Well, that may be career. Hold on, look. Oh no, it isn't sure. He's thrown 5. That's if he can just keep that type of stuff up, just a solid 1 or 2 touchdowns and just no interceptions, his team will start getting. I'm really high on Tennessee, especially for how underrated I think the AP poll gives them. And then of course, Deshaun Bishop had 146 yards. Tennessee, the only thing I think's holding them back, I honestly don't know. We'll go look at the team stats. They had 0 turnovers. Arkansas had 3. And yet somehow, what was this game score? Yeah, 31-34. I don't know. Penalties. Okay, I guess that's what it was. Because just looking at it. Oh man, this too. Okay, hold on. I'll erase the score real quick. And Deshaun Bishop, his rushing yards. But, okay. Third down conversion. Tennessee was 2 for 9. Arkansas was 7 for 13. Okay. So this is a lot better than that. Big surprise. And also penalties, this was played in Neyland. I'm surprised. But they had, I guess this was part of it. They had 10 penalties for 78 yards. I don't know. This game, I don't think should have been that close. Arkansas had almost 10 minutes more time, 10 minutes more time with the ball. I don't know. 10 minutes more. Had 10 minutes. They had 10. They had the ball 10 minutes more than Tennessee did. There's the grammar. Yeah. Okay, one thing that I'll say about Tennessee. I'm leaving one thing here too. And the one thing I'll leave is poor fan base. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I ain't gonna do that. One thing I'll leave is underrated. Hate to say it, but I think Tennessee's actually somewhere in this area. I don't think they're right here. I think they're somewhere in this area. Why don't you put them there? Well, they're 5-1. They lost to Georgia. Georgia's not doing that great. So, okay, at number 9, would you look who it is? It's the boys that beat Tennessee. It's Georgia. Or I could also put /referees in Auburn. I can't fit all that, but that's basically the quick description of Georgia. I'll go look at that game, but can I just say the last 2 minutes of that first half was hard to watch. That may have been some of the ugliest, slowest football I've ever seen. Just because it felt like it took forever. All right, I'm going to Stockton, 24 for 37. Stockton. He had how many? Okay, had 217 passing yards. He rushed for that touchdown at the end. Yeah, and here's the thing about this game. Both QBs led their team in rushing yards. Both had a rushing touchdown. So Arnold and Stockton both had rushing touchdown. Okay, so no passing touchdowns or interceptions for either quarterback. Just solid play, I guess. Again, I had to turn that game off. It was awful. Okay, yeah. Here's the big deal about this game. Here's where the big problem happened. Let me just make sure I'm recording so I can get this. Yeah. Okay. Big problem right here. Let's say I'll erase this just because we have more teams coming up. But let's say this is the goal line, right? And the football is about right there. Let's say that's my football right there. There's the laces. All this. Ding, 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 ding. I don't know if you can see that, but that's the football. This line is the end zone. We'll even draw a little pylon, and we'll draw an Auburn end zone, okay? Because it was played in Auburn. But the football's about right there when it came out, and they call it a fumble. That should have been a touchdown for Auburn. They should have been up 17-0 at half, and that would have changed the course of the second half, and that would have led to an Auburn win. No doubt about it. And then, I don't know. There's a reason I put this in here. That Auburn got absolutely screwed by the refs. Alright, so one thing I'll leave with Georgia. Actually, hold on. Georgia, okay, they have a loss to Alabama. Okay, that's their only loss. And that was a close game. And then they beat Tennessee in overtime. Barely beat Auburn. Shouldn't have beat Auburn, but they did. Whooped Kentucky. And then whooped their cupcakes. Georgia, honestly, if you didn't watch the Georgia-Tennessee game, Tennessee outplayed Georgia. You know what? I know this isn't numerical, but I don't care. I don't even care. I don't even care. Georgia's 10, Tennessee's 9. Georgia's 10, Tennessee's 9. Tennessee outplayed them. Georgia got lucky in overtime. Tennessee outplayed them. Georgia struggled against Auburn and Alabama. Alabama's not a bad team. Auburn's not a bad team, but still. And Tennessee struggled too. I don't know. All right, here's what we'll do. 9.5. 9.5. You got a tie. I know Georgia fans and Tennessee fans hate each other, but I'm not in that debate. Thank the Lord. So I'll just leave y'all that. Y'all are tied. y'all both kind of struggling, but I mean this next week will really tell a lot. Georgia plays Ole Miss, Tennessee plays Alabama. We'll see how Tennessee handles that. But I guess I'll leave one thing with Georgia too. Win comfortably, please. Well, I could just say can't win comfortably and just leave it at that. They can't win comfortably unless they're playing Tri-County Community College. Okay, let's see who I got next. Oh yeah, wow, this is a big one. Okay, this is a hot take kind of if you think about it, but not really. We have Georgia. Oh my gosh. Well, you already know who it is, but I need it right there. We got Georgia Tech. Man, I love this Georgia Tech team. I'm high on this Georgia Tech team. I love them. Okay, I'll break down the stats whenever they from this Saturday whenever they played Virginia Tech. Yeah, it's Virginia Tech. They have them at number 12. That's awful. They have more quality wins than Oregon. This is tough too. I love to see Georgia Tech play one of these SEC teams, LSU, Tennessee, or Georgia, just to see how they fare. Cause SEC, man. Anyway, let's just go ahead. Okay, let me break this down real quick. They beat Colorado. That was a great game. But that's week 1, and as an Alabama fan, I say things have changed since week 1. Beat Clemson, who was ranked at the time. That win is devalued though. Whoop, they're cupcakes. Barely beat Wake in overtime. I like Wake though, and pretty handily beat Virginia Tech. Here's the reason I like Georgia Tech so much. Haynes King may be the most underrated quarterback in the league, maybe, possibly. Either him or Aguilar. Okay. So, he threw for 213 yards, 1 touchdown, 0 interceptions. Clean game. Yeah, okay, so total yards. Georgia Tech had 43. Virginia Tech had 369. Okay, turnovers. Virginia Tech had 1 to Georgia Tech's 0. This is probably a big part of the game. Just looking at it, I didn't watch this game, but it's probably a big part. Virginia Tech was 0 for 8 on third downs. That is never good. That's not ever good. Georgia Tech was 7 for 12. That's very respectable. Again, I mean, the reason I like Georgia Tech so much is because of Haynes King. And I like the running back too. I don't know. I think they got a pretty good offense. I mean, they can make some noise for sure. We'll see this next week. I think they play Duke on the road. Yeah, I like Duke's quarterback Mensa. I like him too. Yeah, Darian Mensa. All right, so that's just kind of it for Georgia Tech. One thing I'll leave with you for Georgia Tech is just watch out, man. Watch out, because they are not bad. They do eventually play Georgia. At the end of the season, hopefully it stays kind of this way where Georgia Tech's just kind of like a underground, confusing team, and Georgia's just kind of Georgia. struggle a little bit, beat who you need to beat, lose to Alabama, Georgia. All right, so next, didn't take long for this to make me sad, but I gotta put Alabama at 7. I mean, they could be below Georgia Tech because FSU loss is awful, and like I said, things have changed since week 1. But I think every single one of these teams are 5-1 except for Georgia Tech. Yeah. Again, this week, whenever these two duel it out. So that's going to be tough too. But all right, let's go to the Alabama game. That was a very close game. Had me on my toes. I mean, it was 27-17. That game should have been over, but we'll go over it. Ty Simpson had 200 yards, 3 for 3 touchdowns. Man, as much as I don't want to be biased, I can't help but be biased for Ty Simpson. He's so much better than Jalen Miller at throwing the ball. He's thrown 1 interception this year, I think, and it was against Vandy. I mean, I can't help but just feel like he's top 4 or 5 quarterback in the nation right now. I just can't help it. All right, so Alabama did have 1 turnover, and that I shouldn't say anything because I think it was Ty Simpson that lost the fumble. But 2-1 for turnover. Missouri out yard is 330, 326. That's close though. Similar yardage. Jen Miller had 85 rushing yards. Now, none of this is the kicker. I can erase all this stuff, and it could be dang near the same game, except for maybe the 3 touchdowns from Ty Simpson. But here's the big thing. Ahmad Hardy was a Heisman contender, in my opinion, and a lot of people's opinion before this game. And he wasn't even the leading rusher on his team. It was Bo Pribula, whatever. It was Bo. And he had, I'm going to look at Ahmad Hardy, see how much he was held to. Because, I mean, that's big. Ahmad Hardy was a very highly talked about running back coming into this game. He had 52 rushing yards on 12 attempts. 52 yards. And then Pribula at 61. I mean, I'm pretty sure, let's see, how many yards did they have in total? Missouri had just a little upward of 115 rushing yards. Alabama had, I think, 130, which isn't a big difference, but the rushing game from Missouri was the big concern for Alabama, and Alabama stopped it. So I like Alabama, but I don't know that their road wins still concern me, even though they went to Sanford Stadium, beat Georgia, went to whatever Missouri Stadium is called and beat Missouri. I don't know. If you want to Tallahassee, I don't know, that game still kind of haunts me. We didn't have Jan Miller, and we didn't have Ryan Williams for some of the game. So, I mean, I have a 7. All right, next, at number 6, this is the only team that I am very strongly against the AP poll on. They have this team below Alabama. I think that's kind of it. I just don't think this team should be below Alabama, and that's Texas Tech. I mean, the way this team's playing is good. And I know I concerned it ain't Texas Tech. Am I an idiot? It is not Texas Tech. They're at number 5. I think I just accidentally revealed my 5, but it is Tech. This one's Ole Miss. All right, well, while we're doing this, I'll just give you 4. It's A&M, Texas A&M. probably write it in black, but that'll be no big deal. So Ole Miss. Let me go to Ole Miss real quick. They barely beat Wazoo, bro. Barely beat Wazoo. Washington State. Here's my problem with Ole Miss. Okay, exclude your Group 5 conference, Tulane and Georgia State. Exclude Tulane and Georgia State. They are 4-0. Of course, they're undefeated. They're 6-0 overall. Oh, I forgot to leave something for Alabama. I'll just put, please win against Tennessee. 4-0 in one-score games. I know it's the SEC. No weeks off. They got to win against LSU whenever they're at number 4. And I knew LSU was going to lose that game. They are not that good. But let's just take a look. Okay. I'll erase all this. But just keep that in the back of your mind. Okay, Ole Miss. At Kentucky. 1-7. 1-7. At home versus Arkansas. Like I said, Arkansas sneaky, but still at home versus Arkansas. 1-6. At home versus LSU. Again, LSU's a good team. But, I mean, still. You're supposed to be good. At home versus LSU. 1-5. I think, right? Yeah, 24-19. But this is the big problem. It's decreasing. It's decreasing at home versus Wazoo. Washington State. Win by 3. Alright, let me break down the stats. That's just something to point out, because at Kentucky, it's a road game in the SEC. Tough. I'll let them have that, okay? I'll let them even have the LSU one. I'll let them have the Arkansas one. But the big kicker is squeaking a win against Wazoo. No, that's not good. I know I have them above Alabama. I know I have them above Georgia Tech, Georgia, Tennessee. They got to be above LSU, and ain't no way we put Oregon ahead of them. But they're 6-0. You got to respect it. I'll break down this game real quick. But winning by 3 is not what we need to be doing. All right. Okay. Shambliss, or whatever. I don't know how to pronounce all these people's names. 253. He had 253 passing yards, which is good. And then he had a 2-0 ratio for touchdown interception. That's good too. Solid performance. Lacey. He had 24 carries, no touchdowns, but he did have 142 yards. Respectable. All right. Now, the problem is, Washington State isn't the absolute, they ain't no, like, Kent State. They ain't absolutely garbage. But they're not a team that you should be letting go 24 for 31. This is their quarterback, Zach Egghouse. Or, I think it's Zach Egghouse, right? Ziva. Wait, what the flip? Ziva? No way he just gave up 218 yards and 2 touchdowns. Oh my gosh, it's to a dude named Ziva. And then the running back had 88 yards and a touchdown on 10 carries. Alright, so that's not great, especially when you're playing Washington State, but I'll look at the team stats too. Alright, let's erase all this again. I have a lot to say about Ole Miss. It's just, I don't know. I like them, but I don't know if I trust them. Okay, so they had 439 total yards. That's respectable too. 1 turnover. Happens. 25 first down, 8 penalties for 99 yards. Time of possession. They were outdone on the time of possession. Wazoo had 32 minutes and 42 seconds. Ole Miss had 27 minutes and 18 seconds. And usually, in a game that's easy, your time of possession shouldn't be so much longer than the other teams because you should be scoring pretty quick. But in a game that's close, concerning. So basically, I have Ole Miss ahead of all these teams because they're undefeated. I think it's respectable either way, all in all. But they are not above any of these teams at all. They may not even be above any of these. They may be down here right with Oregon. But they're undefeated, so respectable. One thing I'll leave with you, Ole Miss. Respectable. I've said that a bunch. Respectable. But shaky. Respectable but shaky. Okay, Texas Tech. Now this is a team that I think is criminally underrated. Texas Tech. Hold on, we'll go ahead and put this down here. Okay, Big 12. This is the only team from the Big 12 I have on here, by the way. And next week they go on the road to Arizona State. That may not be the easiest game, but I think they got it. Okay, they beat Kansas 42-17. They handled them, and I expected that. They rushed. They used their rushing attack. Their quarterback, Morton, only had how many yards? 91 yards. 91 passing yards. But he still threw 4 touchdowns. That's pretty good. 12 attempts, 7 completions, and 1 of them was a touchdown. I mean, technically, let's see, 100 divided by 12. Oh no, it's too late to do math. So that means like 8 point something percent of your throws are touchdowns. According to this, just in this game. But the real kicker right here is their rushing attack. Cameron Dickey. Where am I at? Yeah, right here. He had 263 yards on 21 carries and 2 touchdowns. Man, if you had him in fantasy, you were probably cooking. The only other running back that may have done better was Pitt's running back. Yeah, okay, so let's go to some team stats. Texas Tech was outdone on time of possession, but it's just like the case with Ole Miss. It wasn't a close game. It's not. You're not going to be killing them on time of possession because you're scoring points. You're putting up points, and you're grinding out. Your defense is grinding Kansas out in this instance. Third down penalties, first downs, 1 turnover. I think it was a fumble on. I don't remember. I think it may have been their tight end, but I don't really remember. 1 turnover, not a big deal. Again, it happens. Total yards, they outdone them 505 to 319. Okay, so I mean, here's the difference between Texas Tech and Ole Miss and even Georgia. I'll say Georgia too, just because. I do think the SEC is tougher, but here's the thing. Texas Tech blew out their cupcakes, of course. Oregon State, that's a cupcake. But they went on the road to Utah, who was ranked 16 at the time, and beat them by 24. Went on the road to Houston, who isn't no pushover. Beat them by 24. All right, 35-11. Yeah, 24. And then at home against Kansas, who was a respectable team. Jalen Daniels, I like him. Good quarterback. Beat them by, hold on, 22. 25 is what I meant. So their net against teams that matter is like 73 is their net. That's a lot different than Ole Miss's whatever I said. Ole Miss is like 21. That's tripling them. I mean, again, winning is the only stat that matters, but I mean, as of right now, there's a reason that you're ahead of Ole Miss. Alright, so one thing I really do Texas Tech, underrated. Again, I mean, I don't know. I don't really know what else to say. Underrated, scary. They're scary. Especially for the Big 12. The only game I may see them losing, I don't even know if I see them losing against BYU because that's at home. They could lose against Arizona State, but if they get past Arizona State, going to Arizona State, and they got this game. All right, A&M is our last team. Let me just make sure it's still rolling. Heck yeah! All right, A&M. All righty, another Texas team. I thought we had 3 Texas teams, but I'm stupid. No, we don't. We just got Tech. A&M. If you would have told me at the start of the season, yo. The main 3 Texas teams, Tech, A&M, and Texas. 2 of them are going to be in your top 12 power rankings going into week 8. I'd be like, oh dang, Texas and A&M must have been doing good, or Texas and somebody. You're like, nah, Texas sucks. Okay, A&M. Number 4 in the AP poll, number 4 in my power rankings. I don't even know if they should be there. You didn't hear that. Again, I think Texas Tech could be here. I think Georgia Tech, Alabama, Tennessee, Georgia, and LSU, maybe. I don't know. A&M. All right, we'll look at Florida. We'll look at the stats. Marcel Reed played a good game, I think. We'll kind of. Okay, Marcel Reed, right down here. So, threw for 234 yards, 1-1 ratio, respectable. 16 for 26. Lagway at basically, he had 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, 1 more yards. That's just kind of Lagway. Okay, total yards, they outdone 417, 319, which is, I just can't say 319 yards, but Texas Tech had 505. And also put up 42. Texas A&M, Florida's a little bit tougher than Kansas in my opinion. I was going to make the reference. Florida and Kansas both had 319 yards and both scored 17 points. Tech put 42 on them and 505 yards. And then put 34 and 417 yards, but that's kind of SEC over Big 12. And then have 1 turnover. Again, that's just kind of, it's football. Not much to say about A&M. Florida was 1-10, not A&M, this is Florida. 1-10 on 3rd downs. And A&M was 9-17. So a bunch of stops on 2nd down and a good bit on 3rd down too. And they didn't go for it once. But I don't know. There's not much to say about A&M. The only thing that I have against them is I don't know if they're frauds or not. Beat your cupcakes. Beat Notre Dame at Notre Dame. That's a good win. I like that win. At Notre Dame. I don't have them on there, but that's a solid win at Notre Dame. At home versus Auburn. Squeak that one out. Auburn's not bad. They got screwed by the refs last night. Mississippi State. They ain't bad either. But they played at A&M. They got whooped. And then, of course, Florida at A&M. I think this next game is going to be a true test. I don't think it's going to be a big challenge. I think A&M will win it. But I do think it'll give us a little bit more of a read on how good A&M can do on the road. And against somebody who's just kind of sneaky. A&M's probably looking at Arkansas 2-4. Not that great. Arkansas fought with Tennessee, fought with Ole Miss. They fought with a few people. Pick back up. One thing I'll leave with you with A&M is concerning. Well, not really concerning. I'll mark that out. More like kind of the same as LSU in a sense. Just kind of like unknown. I don't really know if this team's that good or not. I'm at 4 on my power rankings. There's a lot of stuff going on up here. So to recap, number 1, Ohio State. Number 2, Miami. Number 3, Indiana. Number 4, Texas A&M. Number 5, Texas Tech. Number 6, Ole Miss. Number 7, Alabama. Number 8, Georgia Tech. 9, Georgia. 10, Tennessee. 11, LSU. And 12, Oregon. The Oregon Duckies. Now, before I end this little video I got going on, I'm gonna give you some games to watch next week. Watch out for. Could be pivotal in the college football playoff, kind of where people stand on that. And just kind of good games that you can watch. Probably be close, hopefully. Games that'll shake up these power rankings probably. Okay, so that first game is definitely going to be Ole Miss at Georgia. Big game, especially for Ole Miss, especially for Georgia. It's a big game for both of them. Because Ole Miss, I don't believe in you. Georgia, you're scary. As in, I don't know if you're that great or not either. Carried by the refs, squeaking in. Two shaky teams. Next game, staying in the SEC. Well, not Alabama at Tennessee, but Tennessee at Alabama. Circle it. Give you a little bit on these two. Tennessee, I'm high on them. Very underrated. Alabama, very different from week one. Georgia Tech at Duke. This is a big game right here, I think. Georgia Tech, I love Haynes King. Underrated. But Duke, their quarterback, is very good. Darian Mintz, he's a dog. Staying in the SEC, I'll go ahead and get the last SEC game I got on here. Actually, hold on. I'll throw in A&M at Arkansas. Just don't watch it over something, but just take a little peep. Just take a little peep. I'll draw some eyes over here. Take a little peep at that game when it's at halftime or third quarter. See if you need to turn it on because it could be up there. Anyways, LSU at Vandy. That game's important too. Vandy's not. They're coming off bye week. LSU shaky as well. Let's see. I don't think there's really any games in the Big Ten. I will say, Texas Tech at Arizona State is important too. Coming off a loss. We want to see how they do on the road against a solid team. Let's see if there's any games for next week that I'm missing. I know the BYU game isn't going to be bad. Let's see. If you want to check Louisville at Miami, might not be a bad one to check. But, I don't think it's too watchable. I think Miami will win that one pretty easily. Okay, so let's just make sure Nebraska, Minnesota, no. Oklahoma at South Carolina, maybe. I'm not going to put that up there. Maybe check on that one. It's just not as important as a lot of the other ones, I don't think. Oh, yeah. Okay, I forgot about this one. I said Utah and BYU. I'll put Utah at BYU. Just keep an eye on that one, too. But this one, yeah, USC and Notre Dame. I keep an eye on that one too. So that's kind of it. Gave you who I thought was who was up there and who I didn't. Who I was confident in and who I wasn't. And obviously I do not like Ole Miss right now. But we'll see how they do in this game right here. That's the biggest game of the week. This is the biggest game of the week. Biggest game of the week. Big game. Pretty big game. Pretty big game. These two are kind of iffy. If I can use this. These two kind of iffy. Let's see where that. Yeah, A&M kind of iffy. But all those other games, if you can watch as much as you can of those games that I marked in red, those might not be very bad. But if you disagree, go ahead and leave me some thoughts, questions, answers, concerns, mental health problems about my power rankings. But that'll be it. And as always, roll tide roll.